So, we were talking about, you showed me that rock, and I wanted to show you how it was not a lithic like this, how it was something like this that could be found. And here are two other examples of like possible thingies, but probably are just rocks. So one, the rock that you had was sort of similar to this in how it's like wasn't a type of rock that can be flint-knapped. For a rock that has to be flint-knapped, it has to have a high amount of silica or like a shiny surface is how I learned it. So with this one, which is flint-knapped, it's a biface and it's been worked on this edge. You can see all those little pressure flakes. Anyways, so this is a high amount of silica. That makes it shiny, that makes it to where you can get these sort of like flakage-ness, like how it fractures. When in something like this, it wouldn't do that. It would just like fall apart. Sort of like how this one would fall apart. And even though this one has a high amount of silica, it doesn't have the uniformed, like here's an example. This is a rock, and here's some exterior, but here's a uniface maybe, or just a flake of something. But you can see that it is uniformed in the amount of silica, even if the color is different. With this, you can see that there's sorts of like inclusions and stuff in it, so it makes it to where you can't flake it off and it come off clean, because these little like harder dealies that aren't silica like this would nick it, I guess. It would stop the flow of energy. So this you couldn't flint knap with, or at least you couldn't make anything really good out of it. Maybe get some flakes, some debitage. This is another example. This is one of my favorite rocks, and even though it does have the high amount of silica, the quartz, again, it's not uniformed in how it's doing it. So like the outside can always be like really crumbly and gross, like how this is, but in the inside it matters if it has all these like little lines and stuff, or if it has crystals. So that's one reason why I'm gonna make another video. So if you don't know what type of rock you have, like if you don't know if it has enough silica, if it doesn't, if it has these properties, or maybe you just don't know, like it looks like it, because there are some rocks that indigenous people did used to use that don't look like this, that have the shininess. You can have like really dull lithics. But what you need to see are these flakes. So these are, forget what they're called, but these are flakes that have been taken off like that, and they leave these little, what they're called are like alluvial fans and stuff. There's a really good example on this one right here, where it was hit right here and it flaked off this way. You can see it has those like little ripples in it, but that's what you need on a flake for it to be a flake. So like these have these on it. You can see the multiple different flakes where someone spun it around, and I mean it broke, but you know, you can see that that's been worked by a person. This one, it's harder to tell with this one, but it has the breakage point on this one, on this side, it's a uniface, has broken off. It would be like right here-ish, because there's like this like bulb of percussion is what it's called. You know, this one no, it has some pressure flaking on these sides. Really what you're looking for are like these fan. But yeah, there's also a flake taken out right there. And it's really hard to tell with this one, but this is one of those that's like harder to tell. With this one, my issue with this is how this has this like crack in it, I want to say. So I don't really know if this is a flake. It sure could have been a part of somebody flaking a core or like a bigger rock, and they got this off of hitting, and this is like what we would call debitage. But yeah, that might have been worked. This one, I have an issue with like this, but that could have been a step fracture, I guess. But it has like the properties. I just don't know if these flakes are good enough. But I mean, this is very weird. This ridge right here, maybe you can see with my fat fingers, but I don't know. Those are some easier ways to tell. This one could have been a flake as well. I would maybe say so because of right there. You can see it's kind of worked or used. But yeah, something that has this sort of makeup, or like this, or this, couldn't really be used. So what you're looking for is things that have like this shininess. But yeah, hope that helps. Hope I can even send these to you because they're a bit long.